Hello, thank you for volunteering in the Colorado Native Plant Society Youth Education Programming. We are talking today about the native plant curriculum, and I'm going to walk you through the curriculum. You have this on paper. So this lesson meets objectives in elementary school grades, and the evidence outcomes relate to these four words. So if you can think about what you want to say about these four words, then you'll be able to run these activities no problem. There's a lot of language in the lesson that will support you as well. But don't feel like you have to say exactly what's written in the lesson, right? You know this stuff already. So employ your prior knowledge to make this a success. So you're a member of the Native Plant Society. You know what the word native means. That's the first word we'll want to impart. And then we want to explore what it means to be alive and specifically define ecology as the study of how organisms interact with each other and their physical surroundings. So inside of that definition is the idea of habitat. That habitat has living and non-living parts. And through that, we'll think about seeds and how they hold the next generation. And they are a niche. They also are a microhabitat for the offspring for the next generation. And so through the activities, we will first do an activity called Meet the Natives, and then another called Ecology Pizza, and finally we'll make native seed sculptures. So to start off the day, you'll want to do an icebreaker, right? And for the youngest students, that might look like just asking them where they're from, and exploring this idea that not all of us are from here. And so folks in the older grades, you would go through a process of making them explore their heritage and thinking about if they were born in Colorado, if their parents were born in Colorado, if their grandparents were born in Colorado. If you go through a few generations saying literally, students, please stand up and we will sit down when I ask these questions if they affect you. So if you are born in Colorado, stay standing up. If you're not born in Colorado, sit down. Then, if your parents were born in Colorado, stay standing up. If your parents were not born in Colorado, please sit down. And go through as many generations until there's only a couple people standing up. And then you introduce those people to the class and say, these are our natives, and ask them what their names are and where they're from. And then we'll go into exploring getting to know our native plants. We will do this with a memory game. So through the memory game, the students have have cards, and they're set up for like 2 to 3 students each. And if you've ever played memory, essentially there's 2 decks that are exactly the same, and you lay the cards down face down on the table. And then each participant picks up 2 cards and then puts them back. And then when you find a match, you keep the match. And so there's a couple decks. There's one of shrubs and trees and one of flowers and grasses. And the students will be working through the worksheet at the end of this activity. Now I'm going to show you a video of this lesson going down in the classroom. And this will kind of show you also like the pace of things. You just talk for like 5 minutes, and then the rest of the time they're playing the game and you're walking around and the volunteers are walking around just asking them, oh, what matches did you get? Do you know how to play? You know, just guiding the process. And then it's one-to-one and students are in groups. But here's what that looks like in the classroom. Here we're in the classroom playing the memory game. So I had all the students first fold their papers in half and write their names at the top of them. And then I reminded them about ecology. So after they folded their papers and wrote their names on, we talked about what it means to be native, and we reminded ourselves of the first activity. And then I told them that we are introducing the natives and they're playing memory. And then I ask them questions like, have you ever played memory before? How do you play? What do you need to do to be able to win memory? You need to pay attention when your partner is playing. And then they can keep their matches because actually, as this student has done, you're going to take those and you're going to do something with the worksheet afterwards. And I'll show that in just a second. Okay, so we're going to take our memory cards and you're going to pick out 4 because you only have 4 on your line. And then in your table here, you're going to write the name of the plant, which you can see on the cards.
What is it? What's the name of the
See,
plant?
this right here is the common name in English, and this is the Latin name. All plants have Latin names so that people can recognize them from all over the world. So you can write this name or this name, whichever one you want.
So which the bottom name say?
So that says Ericameria nauseosa.
What is the top one say?
Rubber rabbit brush. So say this was ours. If you can, write the name in the first box, and then in the second box, you're gonna either color the whole box of the color of the flowers, or you can sketch it. You can make a little drawing, okay? And then we're gonna decide, is it a shrub, a grass, a flower, or a tree?
Is it shrub it?
This one's a shrub, yes. And so then you would write the word shrub. Sound good?
Yeah.
And here's some colors, so you can color it in. And remember, you can sketch or you can just color this whole box in. Can you guys put your matches back together before you put them in the bag?
They already matched.
Okay, perfect. So as you can see, there are a lot of students who are like still working, and then there are other ones that are definitely done working. So you can just help them to clean up and pack up the cards. Can you guys make your matches, like match up the cards and then put them in these bags for me?
Yeah.
Thank you. Can you guys like put the matches back together before you put them in here? Thank you. But everyone's being pretty calm, and that's nice. And you know, it doesn't matter how far folks get in the workshop, in the worksheet, wherever it seems appropriate to move on. Just help them to help you by cleaning up, making the matches, putting them back in the bags. And then we can just transition to the next activity. So folks, if you want to put these in here, that would be helpful. And if you love coloring, there's lots of coloring sheets in here, so you can keep coloring.
I love coloring.
Now, students will finish up at different times, and you can direct them to that worksheet and to clean up, and we'll transition to the next activity. Now, in the second activity, we're going to really explore this word ecology, and the students are going to make an ecology pizza. And so it starts with a conversation, which you'll lead, like, what does ecology mean? And I would ask them if they don't offer a definition, like, what does ology mean? And you can usually get to the study of something. And then eco, the common responses are ecosystem, earth, environment, and all of that works. Ecology is the study of how organisms interact with each other and their physical surroundings. And so after you explore what it means to be alive, we're going to build a pizza on a plate. And the activity follows just you asking questions, and then they get the material and put it on the plate. The first thing is for them to write the word habitat on their plate. And write this word on the board so they can copy it. And then they can write their name on the back. And then they'll be getting some glue. And actually, you'll probably be walking around with glue and pouring glue right onto the word habitat on their plate. And then they can spread the glue around. So that's like the sauce of the pizza. And that's fun. And it will mess up the word, but that's totally fine. And once they get a lot of nice glue, we'll start this activity. In every classroom, there's a bag of all of these manipulatives organized, and you can do them in any order. And you follow through by just asking questions like, let's start with paper clips. Are paper clips alive? And the conversation will follow. Do not let anyone speak out of turn. Just say, I'll call on someone who raises their hand. And remember that if folks are getting rowdy, just stop talking until it's quiet. And the teachers will help with that. So, are paper clips alive? No, they're made of metal. Where is metal from? It's from inside of rocks. And then we go through several food items like corn, beans, rice, and these, of course, are seeds. And so you'll want to tell them now to foreshadow the next activity that those are seeds that we eat and they grow on grass. And so pass out each one at a time. Ask the students to hold out their hand, and then you just put a little amount in their hand and they'll sprinkle it on their pizza. Other items, yarn is made from wool, which is from animals. And so that's alive. And then we have plastic, right? And so with plastic is made of fossil fuels. What are fossil fuels? They're ancient plants and animals, and they meet those characteristics of what it means to be alive. They're ancient cells. And so this is usually an aha moment that plastic was once alive. So it is part of our living environment in that sense. And then you'll also have rocks, and they're not alive. And then you'll also have salt. And salt, where does that come from? It comes from rocks, and it's not alive. And so we'll want to just stop and talk for a moment if the moment arises for you about how we eat lots of things that are found in rocks, even though they are not alive. For example, all vitamins and minerals are abiotic, non-living substances. And then finally, we'll have compost, and we can talk about how compost is decomposing leaves and organisms and small microscopic soil organisms who are doing that decomposition by eating these plant parts, and that is what's happening with us, right? It's just the same analogy. And then finally, your pizza will be done, and the students can set their plates to the side, and we'll transition to the next activity. So as you are wrapping up the ecology pizza activity, you can point them to this worksheet in their hand. They have little field journals, and they can list what some of the living things were in the pizza and some of the non-living things in the pizza. Right, so once the pizzas are by their backpacks or whatever shelf they're going to go on, the teacher will help you with that. We will go into our final activity, the culminating activity of making native seed sculptures. So the last thing you want to talk about is remind them about the seeds. Say, remember all those seeds we talked about eating when we made our pizza? A seed is an amazing adaptation for life on land. Like it is a little habitat that prevents organisms from drying out while they're waiting to germinate. So that's really exciting. Seeds help us to bring plant babies into the world. And you can remind them that animals lay eggs, and that's a kind of seed, including birds, fish, insects, turtles, lizards, and reptiles. And even 2 mammals lay eggs, the platypus and the echidna. And if there are any Sonic fans out there, an echidna is a real animal. That's always fun. The children will like that. And then other mammals have eggs inside their bodies. So when we collect seeds and spread it into new spaces, that we don't expect them to grow immediately, but if we share the native seeds into the native habitat, like when the conditions are right, they'll germinate and grow, and that's what we can do to give back to the earth. So the first thing to do will be to pass out the seeds. And you want to direct the students to this page in their field journal where they can put the seeds on the page and then see if they can sort them into the different seed types. And then they could also, if they have a glue stick in their pencil box, like glue a seed or 2 on there, not all of them, because we'll use them in the seed ball, or they can sketch them. So let them explore the seeds. There are 10 different seeds in the mix, even though it's hard to discern 10 different seeds without a microscope. So see if they can notice that they're hairy. Some seeds are hairy, some are not. There's little black seeds. And then we'll pass out the clay and the compost. So the seeds are all mixed together. So you're gonna pass them around a seed mix. So I'm gonna change this. Sorry, one sec. And then they're going to draw the pictures, and then we're going to build a little habitat for these seeds. And we're going to bring in living parts and non-living parts, right? So we're going to use clay, which is a kind of rock material, and we're going to use compost, those all that breaking down organic matter from leaves and animals and the tiny soil animals therein, for which the compost is their habitat. And so then you'll give every student a piece of wax paper, and you'll hand them each a ball of clay and a pile of compost, a little pile. So in this last activity, there's just these three supplies: the seeds, the compost, and the clay. And then they can work on their wax paper to mush the compost and seeds in, or it helps like maybe make a flat, if you make a flat medallion, and then you put the compost and the seeds inside and kind of fold them up. And then students can just roll it into a ball, or they can make a sculpture, whatever suits them. At the end of this whole thing, they could wrap their ball in the little piece of wax paper and kind of squeeze it together, just twist the top. And then they will put them on the shelves with their pizza, or if you have time, they can do a little show and tell with their sculptures. But yes, every student should be sending one home, and then if someone finishes really early, you could give them another ball, and then if there's any ones that are made second balls, then we'll save those at the school and spread them on the landscape there for restoration. Okay, thank you for your time. I hope this was a good summary, and let me know if you have questions. And please write a comment in the chat so I know you watched the video.